Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us for our webinar, How Can Human Resources Digitalize to Reach Talent in the International Job Market? This morning, we have with us here today Patrick Bonnin, the Business Development Manager from Textkernel, and Thomas Dorynek, the HXM Value Expert from SAP. Thank you both for being here with me today. My name is Fuchsia, and I am here on behalf of the IRH by Acton Group. IRH was founded in 2016, and we now have two subsidiaries, one in Paris and one in Switzerland. IRH joined the Acton Group in the end of 2021, and we just recently celebrated our first anniversary with them. IRH is an accompaniment-focused consulting company, providing project management, change management, and business support. IRH is fast growing. We have already successfully completed missions for clients both here in France and internationally. Our accompaniment firm now has over 35 multilingual consultants and an annual turnover of over 3 million euros. I'm going to pass over to Thomas from SAP now, but before I do, don't forget to post your questions in the chat and we will get to them at the end. Now, Thomas, speaking of anniversaries, I wanted to mention the 50th anniversary of SAP this year. What an incredible achievement. Over to you, Thomas.
Thank you very much, Fuchsia. Indeed, incredible 50 years anniversary. We are, like we could call an old unicorn in this HR tech market. So my name is Thomas Dorynek. I'm a value advisor at SAP SuccessFactors. I joined SAP about a year ago, coming from consulting background where I was working on HR transformation programs. So giving you a bit of perspective of SAP SuccessFactors. So SuccessFactors was founded in 2001 as a HR tech solution focusing on performance and management, and was acquired by SAP in 2012, and then deployed really the different modules to be today one of the key suites on the market that is able to provide all the different services end-to-end from an HR perspective. We do like the full process from hire to retire. And today we're going to focus on the hire part. We are present in multiple countries, like you can see on the slides. In terms of market presence, we have more than 12,000 clients worldwide and more than 220 million users of SAP SuccessFactors. To give you a perspective also from a recruiting standpoint, we're about 36 million users of the recruitment platform. So very happy today to be here on this webinar and share also our thinking about this recruitment market. Thank you very much.
All right, perfect. Patrick, would you like to continue there with your introduction?
Thank you, Fuchsia. Thank you, Thomas. Welcome, everyone. I'm very pleased to be hosting this webinar with you. My name is Patrick Bonnin. I joined Textkernel 1 year ago, and I've been working in SES solutions for HR for over 10 years. So as SAP, we were founded in 2001. Textkernel is headquartered in Amsterdam, Netherlands, with presence in the UK, Germany, USA, and a well-established office here in France. We are 170 full-time employees, majority R&D and development, representing around 39 different nationalities. We are the international leader in AI for recruitment and HR. We have more than 1,200 clients worldwide, more 100 partners, as IRH and SAP, of course. And as long as we acquired two companies, Sovereign and Aquila, to extend our product offering. Just in a nutshell, our goal is to effectively connect people and jobs by buying the AI foundation of HR technology.
Perfect. Thank you both so much for those presentations. I was thinking that how about we get started by discussing recruitment, HR digitalization processes, and how artificial intelligence plays a role in all of this. I wanted to start by mentioning some key points, like the international recruitment market has been and continues to be highly impacted by digital transformation. These influences resulted in a deeper transformation of the recruitment process and the generic positions associated with it. When dealing with recruitment, reactivity is key. With this digital evolution, candidates have started to desire receiving feedback on their application results now faster than ever. These recruitment challenges can now mean that it's both cost and time effective to digitalize the recruitment process. We must do what we can to avoid wasting time on the wrong profiles. There is a new recruitment perspective on an international scale, and that's thanks to the wants of the people in the industry and the tools like those that we are talking about here today that make it all possible. With digitalization, thanks to tools such as SAP SuccessFactors and Textkernel, we can find candidates internationally, and job seekers are able to look for positions globally. With the generation of digital nomads in the workforce of now, people from all over the world are looking for the flexibility to work from wherever, whenever. The demand for an external workforce is growing, and we need to be able to keep up if we want to stay competitive. With SAP SuccessFactors, the hire to retire process covers an employee's life cycle, travel expenses, and the external workforce. The recruitment market has shown us that the job market of today, candidates, their desires have evolved. Candidates are no longer looking at receiving a contract as the end goal. They are looking at how a job position and a company can meet and match their lifestyle. The definition of recruitment needs to be redefined. It's no longer companies hiring talent on a permanent or long-term basis. The industry is open for companies to hire freelancers, expanding their power in the industry and the talent that is available. From a global point of view, it's really important to stay open. There is no longer a direct company to employee relation. We now have freelancers, temp agents, subcontractors, all of the related personnel that can make up that external workforce. This is where tools, like the ones that we're discussing here today, are going to give you more security and capability to open up that hiring scope. There are so many digital tools on the market today to assist you with this flex office idea of configuration. For example, take this webinar that we're hosting here today. It's broadcasted to all of you live, wherever you are. The ensemble of these tools and the evolution of working from anywhere has given us a market full of global talent. Tools like Textkernel and SuccessFactors have strict legislation that protects you when hiring internationally. They are GDPR compliant, and your data is treated confidentially. Your job offers are translated to be linguistically correct, and the talent required for your position can be more accurately targeted. If I can use the example of an AMOA consultant here at IRH, this position is really only recognizable in the French language. These software tools are able to understand and recognize that, and can search for a candidate with the skills or experience required to complete this type of role. All of this whilst guaranteeing a peace of mind that you are being legally protected. By hiring an external workforce, both locally and internationally, using these tools, you're able to remove this constricting layer of red tape. International candidates can complete missions without the obligations of French contracts, allowing for both parties a greater level of freedom. The use of platforms such as Job Board and LinkedIn have made it possible to revolutionize the recruitment process. We can now search for candidates worldwide and vice versa. Thomas, I'm going to pass over to you now to continue with how SuccessFactors plays a role in all of this.
Thank you, Fuchsia. So before jumping directly into, I would say, the solution and what we can offer as a recruitment module of SuccessFactors, just wanted to give you a bit of perspective of what today talent acquisition teams are facing in terms of challenges. One of the key one and first one is the sourcing talent. I think you touched upon this, Fuchsia, just before. How we're going to make sure that we are approaching the right talents. How do we define the right talents today when you see that the workforce is completely changing in terms of having more and more freelancers or also people composing what we call the external workforce. You see sometimes big corporations that have at least 2 or 3 floors full of actually external workforce working in the same building. And sometimes we also don't see these competencies and their willingness that potentially to be part also of the company. So sourcing talent is key. Moving on also, before moving on to the next one, what I wanted to mention as well is when you talk about sourcing talents, when you look also from a generation standpoint, you know what is the attention span of the Generation Z? It's 8 seconds or 8.25 seconds. So how are you going to make sure that in this very short time, you're able to bring the attention to a new job position, a new job opportunity? So sourcing talent about, I would say, how you define the workforce today and which one you want to tackle, and also what are going to be the different tools that you are going to use to touch this audience. The second part that recruiters are facing are the candidate expectation. I think today there is no job where one of the first or top 3 questions of the candidate is, what is your hybrid policy? So this is one critical part, because this is a tool of hybrid policies are a tool of retention, but also a tool to attract people. Beyond just the hybrid policy that is, I would say, more and more coming to I would say, as a real normal now for companies. The second thing is also the values. How basically the values of a candidate are matching with the values of a company. And even for that, you have tools that are able to provide you like a matching between the value of a candidate versus the value of a company. And that is something very easy, for instance, to set up. And then it gives you a perspective and can definitely turn you from, like I would say, a passive candidate towards more of an active candidate towards a particular company. So candidate expectation. The third one, recruiters' expectation. The pressure on recruiters is high, very high. More and more, I would say, demands versus less and less people available on the market, or not only available on the market, but just being able to find these people. This is something very critical. So what you see today is more or less 70% of candidates are passive. So how do you touch upon this, attract this passive candidate as well? So recruiter expectation very high. Also how they are basically equipped in terms of solution. And I think Patrick is going to give you also another perspective of how different tools can foster their day-to-day work. The fourth point is also the evolution of the needs of the workforce. Today, beyond just the expectation that I was mentioning earlier, it's also about what, as a company, you will be able to offer me. Are you able to offer me more than just the job, but what is the path that you're going to offer me? What are the soft skills that I'm going to acquire within your company? You know, for the cinema industry, we talk about actors being bankable. In employees, which basically an employee is going to be bankable after this experience at your company. And this is something very critical also for I would say today, majority of the workforce. The fifth point is, of course, D&I, diversity and inclusion. Candidates are paying attention to it, but also it's very important from an employer standpoint to make sure that this is something that is alive in your recruitment policies, in your recruitment DNA. And last point, which is very critical, which is concerning mainly, I would say, the executive of the organization, is the lack of insights. Having a recruitment strategy in place, having the recruitment tools, but what are the concrete insights that you can have from it? And how, from basically this insight, you're able to evolve your strategy and basically make, for instance, different investments, or for instance, decommission some tools or create new departments. So this lack of insight is critical. And this is something that definitely solutions on the market, such as SAP and Textkernel, are able to provide you. So Fuchsia, I think it's the next part is for Patrick.
Yes, thank you so much for all of those great points there, Thomas. Patrick, would you like to continue on from there for us?
My pleasure. Well, AI and HR, so a broad and gripping topic. Just a quick reminder, McKinsey report from December 2021 report that AI continues to be adopted in HR, of course, but it's only half of the respondents in 2021, so yesterday, indicate that they were using AI in at least one function. So it's just the beginning of AI adoption in HR solution. So coupled with higher competition for talent across EU or North American markets, the need is expected to continue to rise and adopt more rapidly. Our customers are using AI-powered solution to recruit and match new candidates to vacancy, identify the skill in the existing talent pool to mobile internal mobility, and training needs, and then to analyze the labor market. We have the same target objective as our partners like SAP and IRH, of course. We want to offer the best platform to streamline HR services. Our AI platform is here to take the static data and to turn it into something exploitable. But for a long time, the AI discussion certainly caused a lot of concern for recruiters who were concerned about being replaced by AI or having to learn a new tool, while managers were concerned about the user adoption and data safety. But we are finding certainly with our customers, they see the value of AI as an accompaniment tool to help them complete their work more efficiently, as well as helping candidates, whether internal or external, and to fill vacancy quicker. The advantage to work with a partner like SAP is also the capacity to propose all of part of our solutions that are fully integrated within the user SAP interface via SSO. So it's very, very important for the final user. Users are not confronted with a completely new interface. Regardless of the level of candidate analysis or job offers, the Textkernel technology searches in the client data to find a match. By using our technology, there is all fairness for all. It's very, very important. Our analyses are pragmatic and neutral. So they are therefore devoid of the cognitive biases that make people talk. And you talk about Amazon or Google issue regarding the cognitive bias. Last but not least, we evolve our tools together. It's very, very important. We are listening to our partners such as IRH or ACP, so that our solutions are always best suited to needs of our common customer.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Patrick. Some great points that you've put out there. If you have any questions about anything that both Patrick and Thomas have said, don't forget to pop those in the chat box, and we'll get to that at the end. So, thanks to these tools, we have facilitated the international talent search scope. Digital transformation is key to modernization and continued success. Artificial intelligence is definitely one of the levers in this, especially with the benefits of semantic analysis in the learning machine. Now, I know that SuccessFactors is translated into 45 languages and Textkernel is in 26. Aside from language adaptability, I wanted to discuss your key steps for a successful international recruitment process using these HRIS and AI tools. I should mention here that these tools, any of this kind of tool, requires a company-wide adoption. You started to just touch on that, Patrick, and I think it's great to mention it again, because once the recruitment tools have found and hired the profile required, we move to the next step. There is a challenge here for companies to be sure that their onboarding process provides a company image that stays with the talent. And that was something that you touched on as well, Thomas. The job doesn't end here. A relationship between the employee and the company needs to be established and maintained. So I'd like to continue by talking about how we've seen the different problematics identified on an international scale for recruitment. And if one of you would like to join me in answering what are the solutions that you can provide?
So first of all, to answer, I think one of your first question of what is the key to our success for this type of transformations is, first of all, you need to have the end user focus to deliver these experiences. And when we look at recruitment transformation project or program, what we see is 5 different persona that are going to be impacted by this transformation. These 5 being the candidate, the recruiter, the hiring manager, the HR admin, and the CHRO. Each of them are going to interact with the solution, but from a different perspective. And for each of them, you need to make sure that their experience is maximum, that is optimal for them, that they're going to get the information they want, and they're going to get, I would say, very quickly to the next step, for instance, in terms of, for a recruiter providing, for instance, then an offer or a contract. So if we look now at these 5 different personas, what does it mean? For a candidate, for instance, you need that the candidate needs to be confident when he sees the platform. Today, I don't know many people that are going to apply when they see a UI that is from the 90s. I think already you will get an idea about the company, and you will be potentially, if the technology is not right, potentially maybe it's not just technology that is not right at this company. So being able to provide the confidence and the experience for this candidate, also moving further than just this is also about having a quick possibility to apply for a candidate and not having like 20 steps before he can upload his CV and then submit his application. And just also, just only to finish about the candidate experience, it's not only about the application, but it's also about the next steps, about the recruitment, about the interview that he's going to have, maybe the assessment, maybe the offer that he's going to get. So how you make sure that all this experience is as smooth as possible and that you provide confidence to the candidate. Now, if we look at the second persona is the recruiter. How do we make sure that basically all the different admin tasks that are, I would say, very time consuming are going to be reduced to maximum extent for the recruiter? Then basically the role of recruiter is getting more and more strategic. This is something that is key when you work on this type of program. The third one is hiring manager. How do we make sure that the hiring manager is going to be engaged in this transformation and is going to be engaged afterwards as well? Meaning that he has an important role in the process, but how are you going to make sure that this is where basically you're going to put the cursor about his involvement within the application process? Is he going to be the person first to create the requisition, for instance, or is it something for the recruiter? So basically, it's about finding the right balance for the role of the hiring manager within this transformation. And we see sometimes that if you put too much the emphasis on the hiring manager, basically it's becoming too time consuming for him, and then there's a risk for failure. So very important to have a strong focus on the hiring manager. Then, of course, the fourth persona is the hiring manager. How are you going to make sure that it's efficient for him and that he can very quickly make the modification that are decided above for basically changing for instance, some configuration within the process. And last but not least, and we mentioned it before when I was talking about the insight, is from an executive standpoint, the CHRO, how do we make sure that he's going to be well informed as well? A CHRO is not going to look into your recruitment solution. He's going to mainly look at the dashboard. What are basically the key insight he can get out of it? So to answer your question, Fuchsia, you need to look at these 5 different lenses to make sure that your transformation from a recruitment standpoint is successful.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for that answer, Thomas. Great to hear that you have solutions for each of the positions on all of those levels, and some great advice came across there. Maybe, Patrick, you would like to add in with our next question. How can we search for profiles internationally, managing the recruitment processes across different countries? Maybe touching basis a little bit about the translation there for us.
Yes, thank you, Fuchsia. Just to add, and I agree with what Thomas said a few minutes ago, because there's currently a war of talent. It's very, very important for recruiters to be fast, efficient, and not miss out on talent because the right skills don't show up. So that's the reason why we have built since 20 years two normalize database, skills, around 12,000 different skills and professions, more 4,000 different profession to be sure to never miss the right candidates. To answer your question, it's because it's our business and our only concerns that we have made multilingual analysis one of our priorities. Our clients are large companies with office all over the world, or smaller company, but maybe near the border, like when you are based in Alsace, for example. They may be interesting in application in French, German, or even Dutch. Today, we are able to pass CV in 28 different languages. It represents more 87% of the languages spoken all over the world. And we have also normalized database of skills and professions in the 8 main languages all over the world. That's the reason why we can propose in our solution integrated in the ACPSF those 2 different solutions to search the right candidate, or search also propose to the silver medalist, the candidate who has not been hired by your company, another job. It's better to propose him another job in your company and thus avoid that he goes to work for your competitor. And with all that different tools in different language is very, very important. We can propose the best solution and quickly solution, and especially with all our data normalized basis, propose a candidate even he has not the right skill, but as we had synonymous or skills very, very close to the skills which required, we can always, or many always, propose the right solution for recruiter to be speed and efficient, and while ensuring that when Fuchsia, you said during your introduction, data security and also to be GDPR compliance, that is very, very important currently, especially in Europe.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Patrick. I wanted to apologize. I said earlier that Textkernel was in 26 languages, and you've just let us know it's now in 28. So congratulations for those extra 2 languages that you've acquired.
We just add Hebrew and Arabic just a few weeks ago. That's the reason why we always involve our solution.
Fantastic. So live proof there that the solution is evolving with you. So I was wondering, maybe Thomas, would you like to continue on with a little bit more into the soft skills? You touched base on that earlier. So how are you handling the current market in relation to that search for soft skills?
So as part of SAP SuccessFactors as well, there have been launch of several new modules also that have been announced as part of our big event on a yearly basis that is called Success Connect. And basically we launched about 4 different features as part of this module that are really focusing on the skills, the talent skills. What we see in the market is today more and more companies are really moving towards a model that is skill-based organizations. And in order to enable this skill-based organization, also there is a critical role for I would say, digital players such as SAP to be also part of this evolution. So what we offer concretely is a module where, as an employee, I can have, for instance, a growth portfolio of skills that I want to acquire, and I basically build my path in order to get these different skills and what actually it means. So very concretely, if I want to get into leadership skills, for instance, if I want to get into product management skills, for instance, what would be the path that would be the most natural for me to follow? What would be the different e-learnings, the different, I would say, classes that I will need to follow as well in order to reach the level I'm aiming to reach. Next to that as well, what we have is we push like a solution called Opportunity Marketplace that is still part of this new module, where basically as a talent, it gives a perspective for the organization. For instance, this person is having these skills. We have, for instance, within our organization, this project. Maybe potentially we could hire the same person within this organization and we don't have to look outside. And this opportunity marketplace is what we could call an internal mobility enabler within organization. Because what we see often is within organizations, you will have different business units, and these communication about the workforce are not always very fluid. And there are often some silos. So by opening basically this information, we can also foster internal mobility. So these are, I would say, concrete solutions that we are pushing on the market, and that will be available. Some of them are already available, and the rest of the suite will be available mid-November, and for I would say beta clients, and then fully available, general availability in February next year.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Thomas. Yeah, that all just sounds great. It sounds really efficient. That's the word that comes to mind when we're hearing about all of that and everything that you have to offer. And so I was wondering, for a client looking to strategize their human resources with artificial information and evolve or begin their modernization process, artificial intelligence, sorry, and evolve or begin their modernization process, what are the triggers? What are those final selling points for this kind of client?
First of all, we have to hear our customers. It's the main and only topic we have to do first. Textkernel has been studying the evolution of recruitment for over 20 years, analyzing job offer and then candidate CVs. So that's the reason why we said that we are the international leader in HR solution, but we are many and so many data. To help our customers, we need to listen to them and understand their needs. The main key is the initial analysis of the client's needs. This is why, alongside a partner like IRH, we define the project before it begins. For its integration, we work directly with our clients or the integrator that we can accompany with our experience to ensure a seamless installation and delivery. But it's just the beginning. But once delivered, it just begins, and we have to hear and to be present with our customer to help them answer and make our solution involve and enhance. During all the contracts, the partnership we have with them.
Perfect. Thank you so much there, Patrick. Thank you both so much for sharing. I was wondering if maybe now we could move on to some more of your concrete business results.
Yeah, definitely, Fuchsia. I think this is what we, as every organization, you're looking also first, and this is also like a trigger for buying, because you see your current pain point as an organization, and by having this type of transformation, you want to see, okay, concretely, what KPIs are going to move, are going to change, and are going to provide business results for, or business outcome for my organization. So to give you concrete examples, for instance, with SAP SuccessFactors, you can grow your talent pools. We saw, for instance, in average, we conducted a survey with more than 175 of our clients. And in average, it's about 256% plus talent pool that we grow via SAP SuccessFactors. Very often, I know this figure seems huge, but very often these talent pools are kind of forgotten by organizations, and by nurturing them and providing them the right information about company evolution, about different job posting, these talent pools are still being alive. To give you another figure, which is very concrete as well, is the time to hire. Time to hire is extremely critical. If we look at companies that are very people intensive, like for instance consultancies like HRIS, where the more people you have, the more business you'll be able to have. Time to hire is critical. So here we are able to reduce the time to hire by 48%. And again, these are figures coming out of our clients, and this is the average. What I want to also highlight, maybe with some of our existing clients with the recruitment platform of SAP SuccessFactors, we see, for instance, that if I take an example like Scotiabank, there was a retention rate that doubled for campus hire for this organization. If we look also at Sephora, there was an increase in candidate application of 88%. Again, depending on the different job board that you use, the different strategies, these figures can be realities for many of different organizations of our, for instance, also our prospects. And to finish maybe with that, what we see, there's also another organization called Sanlam with the implementation of SAP SuccessFactors. They were able to save on a recurrent basis, on a yearly basis, about 100,000 euros every year, just by making the right investment and deciding, for instance, to stop using some sourcing companies because they find other solutions via our platform or our partners. So these are concrete examples that I can give you, Fuchsia.
So
Fantastic. Sorry, just one second there, Patrick. Those were some excellent examples there. Thank you so much for that, Thomas. And that 48% cut down, that's incredible. If we think about how time is money, you've cut that time in half. So that's really reduced the costs there. So that was some great concrete results. Patrick, I know you're eager to get joined in. So over to you. Please continue for us.
No, sorry, Fuchsia. Just to be very quick. Today we have more than 1,200 clients worldwide, including the major staffing companies. So, and the importance of managing several languages and to work with such important partners as ACPSF, of course. To date, I just give you one number. Our renewal rate is around 95%. So what better response than the confidence of our clients? So as I said, it was very quick, but very, very important to see how it's important to be very, very close to our client and partner.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Patrick. And I was wondering if you both would like to join me in giving some advice on errors to avoid. Of course, understanding that these tools are not a solution, but they are part of the business process.
So, Fuchsia, to give maybe some, I would say some insight of lesson learned on this type of talent acquisition program, I would say one of the first point to avoid is a lack of alignment between the business strategy and the needs. What we can see sometimes is that from a recruitment perspective, there might be definitely like I would say a disconnect sometimes between the business strategy and the needs. They are not very much aligned. So this is something that definitely to be tackled. So alignment, stakeholder alignment is key here. Also, a second point that I want to mention is the governance and the operating model that you're going to put in place. These are critical because some roles are going to evolve with this type of transformation. So you need to make sure that you have the right governance for it and the right operating models. Sometimes what can happen is some part of the recruitment model that you're going to put in place are going to be outsourced or are going to be part of a shared service center that you are setting up. So making sure that this is something that is very much fluid and smooth for the organization. Another part also I want to highlight here is to not only be a pure IT focus, not making sure only that this is very IT lean, but really consider the HR need as much as possible. It needs to be a one teaming exercise. And we see sometimes organizations where IT is leading really this type of exercise, but what would be a failure is that if there is not the right buy-in from the HR teams, for instance. And I would say one of the last key takeaway I would like to provide here is don't think of this type of transformation as a one-time exercise. It's something that is going continuously to evolve. It's not because you set up this implementation with this SAP for a solution, for instance, with Textkernel, that this is the end goal. This is something that you're going to evolve with the solution, but also your strategy is going to nurture the thinking here. So, for instance, with a solution like SAP SuccessFactors that is an open platform for recruiting, you'll be able to also, for instance, plug different applications as well to answer some specific needs, for instance. So don't think of this as a one-time exercise. It's something that needs to be a continuous iteration once you put in place such programs.
Fantastic, yes. And you were telling us earlier there, Thomas, about the evolution of the tools with the new rollouts and things like that. So there is always that continuous, growing together, the implementation and the deployment, but the continuous growing, the extra languages that are getting added in. So that's a really great point to keep that relationship going there. Patrick, did you have something else to say there for us as well?
Yes, thank you, Fuchsia. Yeah, AI is a tool to make what you have so much better. So I think that's yes. However, it's not a magic wand. There must be a base to work with. When this one, the possibilities following are almost infinite. The world of AI is in constant development and evolution for the better. It's very, very important. All that kind of project is managed by IT and HR. So we have to hear the requirement of the final user HR team. The most important thing, in my mind, is to work with the right teams, the right partners to provide the appropriate response to the client's needs. Without upstream knowledge of the client, HR, and by relying on a powerful solution like SuccessFactors, I can say that Textkernel AI would be like a comb for a bald man. So it's very, very important to have the right answer to only the right needs of the clients.
Perfect. I loved that analogy there as well, Patrick. That without the support for the tools, it's a comb for somebody with no hair. That was a great one there. So the work doesn't end with a successful hire. Maintaining the relationship with your employees, freelancers, subcontractors, all of your internal and external workforce is just as, if not more important. Around 40% of employees don't stay more than 1 year. Thomas, I believe you wanted to add in a little bit there more for us about change management.
Yeah, thank you, Fuchsia. Yeah, the critical piece of a successful program, of course, is change management. What is the change experience that you're going to offer to all the involved party? What I saw in my previous experience in consultancy is I accompanied some, for instance, organization in recruitment transformation programs. And when the solution was basically implemented, the recruiter, 3 months later, we came back to the team and we saw that basically they were working still the same way they were working before the solution. They were still using their Excels for the reportings. They were still using a lot of emails, so ping pong emails, and then basically didn't take advantage of the solution itself. So we look at basically what was something that maybe we missed in this exercise. And we realized that there were actually some bucket of resistance for some of the recruiters that actually went beyond just these 2 or 3 recruiters within the organization. And that was another exercise of recreating the case for change for this particular audience and making sure that they understand perfectly that actually maybe at the very beginning, it would take you a bit more time to use the solution as such. But because it's new, because these are new ways of working, but on the longer run, actually to be way faster for you. And the what's in it for me is going to be very tangible. So we conducted several workshops and then we let them work. We came back a few months later and actually, yes, the tool was adopted. And the results were there as well. And they forgot about the Excels, and then the communication via email was still existing, but not with the same intensity than before. And these are concrete examples where you can run an implementation, but if you don't put enough focus on how the people are going to use it after, you're going to basically lose a lot of track on a lot of also efficiency. So key recommendations here is to involve the different audiences very early on, and not only during the implementation phase, but also during the thinking stage. How you're going to redesign the processes, for instance. Don't hesitate to involve also the different stakeholders, 5 personas I was mentioning, except maybe candidates, of course, but to involve them also in panel conversation when they see first the solution and when they test it very, very early on when it's not yet fully configured. This is very critical for a succession program. And, if your recruiters and hiring managers are not using the solution, you're not going to get the efficiency of the solution. So don't forget to involve them early on.
Perfect. Thank you, Thomas. Patrick, did you have anything to add in there? Yeah, you agree with us? Perfect. All right. So we here at IRH are firm believers in the benefits of change management and business support for a successful adoption of your software solution. Efficiency is finding the best talent. improving time management, and reducing the recruitment process, promoting better reactivity for the life cycle of an internal or external worker. Textkernel and SuccessFactors are making the most of your data to save you time and ensure that the right candidate is found, working to combat the major challenges that companies are facing with recruitment. There is a need to digitalize. The strength in partnerships is how we will bring the right answers to our clients. Through experience and expertise, we are here to provide the best advice to match you with the best talent anywhere, and now also internationally. So I was wondering if anyone had any questions for us here today. You can pop those into the chat box, and we'll get answering those as soon as they pop up.
I see a question from Romano about the facilitation of the creation of internal mobility and how the skills, the one that is going to be is displayed right now. So Romano, to answer your question. So basically in SuccessFactors, of course, the skill repository is already existing. The client creates the skill repository, but there's also standard one that we can customize. So this could be, of course, your starting point. But with our new module that I was explaining earlier on, you can also connect to external providers of skills. And then it's actually an open platform that is going to be fueling your repository. And with regards to your question of the authority and the level of maintenance, this is something that we do have recommendation. I cannot provide you like one answer because it depends from customer to customer, but we have services that provide leading practices to make sure that we have the right authority for that within the organization. You have the person with the right authority to make the maintenance and also the validity of some skills that, of course, some can be expired or not anymore relevant in today's workforce.
Patrick, do you have something to add in there?
Yes, thank you for sharing to add to complete Thomas' answer. Currently, I talk about our database normalized of skills around 12,000 different skills in 8 languages. So we analyze 4 types of skills: IT, professional, linguistics, and of course soft skill. In this last category, we will highlight the soft skill detected, but there is always a risk which will have to be validated by other means. That's the reason why, for instance, it's a person who writes, "I'm sociable." Is it because they've been told this many times that they want to eliminate it from the start? So many questions, but with TKAE, we are also able to analyze all the types of document, test, cover letter, interview report, and if of course all these documents are indexed in SuccessFactors. But to answer for your question, we have a team that maintains our skill base. We evolve our database with our client to keep it with the market. We complete this base with skills that can be used by 70-80% of our clients. But for instance, French Ministry of Defense asked us to add the skills shooting with the left hand. Of course, it's not easily to scale that skill for all the different professions, but we hear all the client request, we analyze, and if it's in all the ad or job offer or CV, of course, we add it to our database, and we have a quarter update of our database to make that our clients are always happy with the new skilled integrity in it.
Perfect. Thank you, Patrick. I hope that answered the question for you there, Romano. And thank you for that. We've had another question come through. And I know that, Thomas, you touched a little bit on this earlier. It was a question about when should you start change management? And I did want to mention in there that around 15% of a project should be dedicated to change. This is such an important amount. So make sure that you're taking that change management seriously. We had that concrete case from Thomas in one of his previous missions. And I was wondering if you had anything else to add there, Thomas, in response to this question.
Yeah, I would say very often when you look at a project plan, you see the different streams of a program, and you see change management just being a line down there, just being a stream as a normal other stream of the program. Change management actually needs to be at the core of everything we do. in the program. So meaning that the change team that is involved in the project should basically be seeing every, I would say, modification or decision that are part of the different stream, because all this information are going to be then cascaded to the population that will be impacted. So when discussing change, actually, there are programs where actually change management is starting at least even sometimes, couple of months before we actually talk about the design part, because we need to understand the organization. What are for instance, if you do a stakeholder analysis, where are you going to focus your efforts? Because you know that maybe this population or this business unit is going to have a lot of resistance. So you need to tackle a lot of, I would say, actions. You need to take a lot of actions before actually starting the program, because you need to make sure that this bucket of resistance are actually getting less and less friction, and are going to be more into following the program. So this, to answer your question, very early on, depending, of course, on the size and the magnitude of the program, but the earlier, the better always.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Thomas. So there's no more questions in the chat there for the moment, but it's been such a pleasure sharing this discussion with you both this morning. And we want to thank everybody for joining in on that live with us here today. There will be a replay available if you missed part of the discussion there, and it will be subtitled as well. So you can catch up on anything there that you missed. So that's bye for now, and see you soon from me.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Bye.